The T-ara bullying scandal is back after 12 years. Well, the CEO finally decided to bring it up on a show and accused Hwayoung of being a bully. Obviously, she wasn't having it, so she clapped back on Instagram. Then an anonymous ex-employee stepped in, claiming Hwayoung is actually innocent. Honestly, this whole thing is a mess, and it can be seen as a major case to study on bullying in K-pop. Idols getting accused of bullying is a huge deal. Just look at Soyeon and Kim as recent examples. Bullying scandals are never easy to talk about, though. Anyone who brings it up has to be careful so the audience can think for themselves, look at all sides of the story, and make their own judgment based on evidence, not just public opinion. So, with that in mind, let's rewind to 2009. T-ara started off under Mnet Media. Y'all know Mnet, right? Back then, it was a big deal. Mnet was and still is a huge player in the K-entertainment world. So right from the start, they were setting T-ara up to be major stars. Fun fact, the name T-ara is actually inspired by the word tiara, like a crown. The idea was for them to eventually become the queens of K-pop. They even dropped that I to make the name stand out. Because even with all the drama, they had this iconic vibe that fans totally vibed with. They had a ton of hype around them even before their debut. Their pre-debut lineup had 5 members, and they were already collabing with other idols at the time, which just built even more buzz. But like with most K-pop groups, the lineup went through some major changes, and this plays into the bullying scandal. So the original lineup before debut was G.I, Jiwon, Yoonjung, Hyomin, and Jiyeon. They trained together for 3 years. But in June 2009, Mnet Media announced G.I and Jiwon were leaving the group because of music style differences. Then they added Boram, Soyeon, who was an SM trainee and almost became the leader of Girls' Generation, and Kree. Before their official debut, they also switched from Mnet Media to its subsidiary, Core Content Media, now known as MBK Entertainment. They had a solid debut. They released hits like Lies and Wanna Play, and honestly, they were killing it in their debut year. The members were collaborating with other idols. They were everywhere on variety shows, and they dropped their first album in the same year. They were definitely on top. They were being called total chameleons in the K-pop world. They didn't stick to one style or sound, they kept switching things up with every comeback. One minute, they were doing a cute, catchy concept, and the next, they were going edgy and dramatic. It was honestly one of the coolest things about them because it helped them attract a really diverse fan base. So, out of nowhere, Hwayoung joined T-ara in mid-2010, like a year after they debuted. She came on just before they dropped Why Are You Being Like This? And debuted officially during promotions for Temptastic. They said the reason was because with all the solo activities, adding Hwayoung would give them a more complete lineup for when some members were off doing their own thing. It was supposed to help the girls take on more solo projects and give them a little break from their crazy schedules. This was actually a huge time for T-ara because they were hitting their peak with songs like Roly Poly and Lovey Dovey. Hwayoung became a part of that era, and by 2011, T-ara was the second biggest girl group in Korea. Then, in mid-2012, RM joined the group, making it 8 members. She was a vocalist and joined during their Day by Day. Alright, now that you've got the full T-ara lineup and some background on their career, let's talk about the bullying scandal. And like, we all know what K-pop groups do when they make it big in Korea. They go straight for Japan. T-ara totally followed that playbook. So T-ara had this concert in Japan. Everyone was super excited to see them perform. But one member, Hwayoung, couldn't go on stage because of an ankle injury she'd gotten. Apparently, she twisted it running to the dressing room after a music core performance and had to visit the hospital. Then, after their concerts in Japan, the group comes back to Korea, and these photos start circulating of Hwayoung in a wheelchair with a cast on. Like, her injury looked pretty serious. A few days later, the other members start posting all these cryptic tweets about willpower and determination, which is when the whole thing started to blow up. Hyomin tweeted, "Differences in will and determination. Let's all have more will and determination." Jiyeon followed, "The differences in levels of determination? Let's work harder. All of us fighting." Injung added, "A position can make or break a person, but one's will can also make a person and break a person." So these tweets were super vague, but fans totally thought they were aimed at Hwayoung, especially because of the timing. Like, she didn't fully perform at the Japan concert, she only did one song, Cry Cry, so naturally fans started wondering if those tweets were about her. But honestly, the tweets by themselves weren't that crazy until the bomb dropped. Hwayoung's final tweet said, "I am truly sorry. I will be very careful in the future and learn a lot. I will try to live a good life. Thank you to everyone who supported me until the end." But then things took a wild turn. Hwayoung's twin sister, Hyomin, took to Twitter to defend her, and that's when things really spiraled. Hyomin played a huge role in this whole mess because at the time she was also an idol in a girl group called Five Dolls under the same label. She tweeted a bunch of things that seemed to accuse T-ara of bullying her sister. One tweet said, "My sister is a very bright person. She did nothing wrong, but she was hurt a lot. It's so painful to see my sister like this." Then she posted more tweets calling out how unfair Hwayoung was treated, saying stuff like, "How can you tell a person with a broken leg to run? It's too much." These tweets really pushed the narrative that Hwayoung was being treated unfairly by the group and the management. And they definitely helped fuel the whole bullying perception. Despite Hwayoung and her sister speaking out, T-ara stayed pretty quiet about the whole thing. And honestly, the group's reputation took a major hit. Fans started digging for evidence of bullying, which, let's be real, wasn't really solid. But that didn't stop the internet. Like, any video where Hwayoung even looked a little down was suddenly seen as proof that T-ara was bullying her. You know how the internet blows stuff up? Then, the day after all the tweets from the twin sisters, T-ara officially announced that Hwayoung was leaving the group on July 30th, 2012. By then, everyone was already shook by the whole scandal. And the questions started pouring in, like, why did she have to leave the group? Was she really the one being bullied? And then, just to add to the drama, Hyoyoung's contract got terminated shortly after. So here's what their CEO, Kim Kwang-soo, had to say about the whole situation in 2024. He explained, "At the time, the rumors surrounding T-ara were so outrageous and infuriating that I immediately decided to make a major announcement. This is something I'm revealing for the first time on television. I told Hwayoung and Hyoyoung to bring their contracts, and then I tore them up." Now, you might be wondering, why did he do that? Well, at that point, T-ara was getting all the heat, and the sisters were seen as the victims. So, naturally, T-ara paid the price for this controversy, from fans burning albums, boycotting, to even the infamous Black Ocean. On top of that, members lost brand deals, TV roles, basically. The whole group took a major hit. It was years before things started to get a little better, like around 2015. Then something interesting happened. A post went viral that tried to flip the script on the whole T-ara bullying scandal. The post, written by a former Core Content's media staffer, accused Hwayoung and her sister of actually being the bad guys in all of this. The post went on to claim that Hwayoung had a terrible attitude and was just difficult to work with. It didn't stop there. People started sharing photos from the time of Hwayoung's ankle injury during the Japan concert. In the pictures that went viral, she was shown in a wheelchair, looking super injured. But then, in other pics, she was walking around just fine, no crutches. No help from anyone. Plus, while the group was still out performing, the post claimed Hwayoung was chilling in her hotel room and even went to a nail salon to get her nails done. There were also claims that the other members of T-ara had gone through cosmetic surgery, like nose jobs, and still performed the next day without making a fuss. The post argued that Hwayoung was basically blowing her injury way out of proportion, and that the whole staff and group had to work overtime to adjust the concert, like changing choreography, stage positions, technical stuff, just to make it work without her. After this post went viral, the public perception started to shift a little. People started feeling a bit sorry for T-ara and showed them some remorse. But by then, the damage had already been done. T-ara could never fully bounce back from the scandal, and their career never reached the same heights again. So, fast forward 2 years later, and the whole scandal makes headlines again. This time, the sisters appeared on the talk show Taxi and basically claimed they were innocent. They tried to clear their names, but right after that, another former staff member came forward, saying they were lying. And get this, a former T-ara manager even backed up the staff member's claims. The staff member went on to say that while T-ara wasn't entirely innocent, these two sisters had way bigger issues than what was originally being discussed. The post didn't stop there. It dropped bombshells, leaking messages between Hyoung and Arim. Remember, Arim was the youngest member who joined T-ara after. Well, These leaked chat messages didn't paint a pretty picture. Here's a translation of what was shared. Aram, you have to be thankful and say thank you when you're being taken care of. If you don't want to get beaten up, act right. Word spreads fast in this field. Don't mouth around and don't act cheap. I'm extremely angry right now, so let's not run into each other. Hyoung. If I've misunderstood anything, do you want to meet and talk? Or do you want to apologize now? I don't know what you're talking about, but I want to meet and talk. I've never done anything bad enough to deserve to hear such words. There is another one. Little ones can get lost. I'm going to beat the dust off you at. Music bank. I'm going to scratch your face so you can't go on TV. Just you wait. I'm not going to be a singer, so just wait. Dogs only listen when they take a beating. You bitch. Just wait until I catch you. Yes, just keep snitching. So, after all that, the post claimed that Hwayoung wasn't really the victim, but rather the one who created tension within the group. And yep, the narrative completely flipped 180 degrees after that. By this time, Hwayoung was doing pretty well for herself, having a solid career in acting. Some of you might remember her from the popular drama Hello, My 20s, where she played a key role, but things didn't end there. More staff started speaking up, including a stylist named Kim Woo-ri. In an interview, he said that Hwayoung struggled to fit in with T-ara because she was the newest member, especially since the other girls had already lived together for more than 4 years. He also said she had a rude attitude and didn't show proper respect, defending the T-ara members. Woo-ri explained that Hwayoung would call them shampoo instead of their names, just because they washed her hair for her. And when it came to the older stylists, she didn't use honorifics like Ani, a respectful term for older women, or even address them properly. After this interview, Hwayoung responded pretty quickly on Instagram, which is something I noticed while researching for this video. She's always been super direct and blunt in her responses, not like idols today who tend to avoid controversy or stay silent. She said, Miss Kim Woo-ri, I know you're close with Hyomin, but don't make up stories. Kim Woo-ri equals stylist for T-ara when they were 6. I laughed my butt off when I woke up. Another post, hashtag Miss Kim Woo-ri. I get it, so stop making stuff up. Because of you, our agency's staff had to go into an emergency meeting. It's only the morning and you're already causing trouble. You should have checked what actually happened before you went on TV. What are you going to do with your sloppiness? And coming from someone who's old enough to know better, so it doesn't end there. Hyoung actually admitted to sending threatening messages to Reem. Her agency tried to explain it, saying Hyoung was young at the time, and seeing her sister go through all that bullying drama, she stepped in to defend her. They claimed that Hyoung was just emotional and didn't really understand everything that was going on within T-ara. They said she didn't have any real reason to send those messages, but of course, it doesn't make it any less serious. Fast forward 12 years, and this whole scandal is being brought up again. The former CEO, Kim Kwang-soo, finally spoke out and admitted that Hyoung was actually the bully, not the victim, and he defended T-ara. So after the CEO interview, he dropped this bombshell where he basically said he was so furious with all the rumors surrounding T-ara that he decided to just end it with Hwayoung and Hyoung. He told them to bring their contracts, rip them up, and release them from the company. He admitted that he made the decision in anger, but his worry was for Hwayoung's future, and he didn't think T-ara did anything wrong. He said he shielded them from the backlash, even though the public turned them into the villains of the story. Hwayoung wasted no time in responding, of course. She posted a huge statement, but here's the summary. First, she doubled down on the bullying claims, saying it was both verbal and physical. She also cleared up the whole ankle injury situation, saying she apologized multiple times to the members and didn't go to a nail salon, as the rumors suggested. Her nail actually broke on stage and was fixed by the team before she went on. And then she dropped a major bomb about her contract termination. She said the CEO offered her a contract termination with no consequences, basically to silence her, and she was 20 at the time, so she thought that was the best option. She also called out the CEO for bringing up old stories on TV and distorting the truth. She emphasized that now, even though she doesn't have an agency, she feels the need to speak up and share her side. Another former employee came forward, claiming that there was bullying within the group. This person even claimed to have witnessed Hwayoung crying after allegedly being hit by a member. Apparently, the staff didn't intervene, despite knowing what was happening. After that, Hwayoung's twin sister also released a statement claiming the same thing and saying she was wrong to threaten Arim. She said, My response was to prevent anyone from hurting my sister, which led to the text message incident. I know sending those messages was foolish, and I still regret it. Although I previously apologized to Ariam for the texts, I still feel deeply sorry. Those exposed text messages were evidence against the sisters. And besides so many staff members, manager coming forward, then stylist and now CEO has really solidified these allegations of sisters being a bully. Now, Hwayoung also refused the claims that she pretended to be a victim. She said, "When my contract with T-ara ended, I had plenty of evidence to prove the bullying, and I intended to speak out through a press conference. However, CEO proposed that if I stayed silent, he would terminate my sister's contract as well. At 20 years old, I thought that was the best option." She explained, "I left the group without receiving an apology and remained silent for 12 years. And T-ara members also in the past claimed that they have stuff to reveal, but they can't do that. Right now, there's still no real conclusion, just people defending either Hwayoung or the group. Some fans are saying Hwayoung exaggerated her injury. There are evidence of her sister threatening the youngest member, and they can't be trusted on this. The other side is criticizing the CEO. Why does he bring this up again? Because T-ara members are once again facing hate comments. They just think the CEO should have spoken when it was most needed, not now. If he had evidence, they should have presented back in 2012. While some still argue that it was nepotism that led to Hwayoung joining the second most successful group in the first place. And their connections didn't let the CEO or other members and their parents speak up. I mean, there was plenty of time this scandal resurfaced in 2012, then 2015, and also in 2017. Over the years, members have shared how much they suffered because of these allegations. At this point, everyone is just picking sides. Without solid proof, this story just keeps going in circles. And in 2024, with the media playing a huge role in twisting narratives, it's almost impossible to know the full truth. This remains one of K-pop's most complicated bullying controversy, even years later. I just want to say these cases, especially in the K-pop industry, are rarely black and white. It's easy to jump to conclusions, but assigning quick blame can unfairly damage someone's career and mental health. In cases like these, it's better to stay open-minded and patient until all sides are properly heard, because the truth is often much more layered than it seems on the surface.